What is up, RetroManiacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I am from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And you know, the best thing about being a YouTuber is not the fame, it's not the fortune, it's not all the card groupies. It is the fact that I'm able to reach out and connect with people all around the world. There's nothing that I find more satisfying than knowing that you, the viewer, will take time out of your day to leave me a comment to let me know how big of an idiot I am because I said Brett Favre was dumb for stealing welfare money. If I was worried about people doing dumb things, I wouldn't be hanging around with these two guys because there's a lot of them. And of course, Joe Day and E. Eric Pahalik. How you doing, boys?
I haven't stole welfare money yet. Yet.
It's on the list.
Time. It is it's down there. It's down there, obviously. But never say never, EP. That's my motto. So you never know what could happen. I could have a daughter who needs a volleyball court. I don't know.
Don't know.
I'm doing great. One take, by the way. Mike was very concerned that would take more than one take. That was one take. So very well done. Good job, Mike.
Yeah, he was feeling it for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody watches this. But speaking of, before we get into it with you two guys, speaking of being YouTubers, we're getting really close to 2,000 subscribers.
Ooh,
so if you're watching us and for some reason you're not subscribed, hit that button. Hit the subscribe button for us and subscribe. Get us to 2,000.
Right down here, I think.
I don't know. I'm not in a good spot to be able to point where it is.
I think it's like right. Maybe it's probably off the screen, but it's pretty close to right here.
Yeah, get a little bit more angled in the corner there. I think you'd be hitting it. But yeah, I think maybe if we actually get to 2,000, we'll actually do a live stream. And our live streams are fun. We demonetize those. That means we're unfiltered.
Well, I mean,
real hanging out with the three of us.
Joe is like 50% filtered. Like, let's be honest. If Joe unfiltered would be.
We don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. Right. Yes. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Turn it down a little bit.
Yeah, I do. For the live stream, I turn it up from the pod, but I turn it down from real life. I think that, kind of get that happy medium.
When you live at 12 in real life, you got to turn it down a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
I do live at 12 in real life. Yes, I do.
So what's new and exciting, boys? Tell me all about your week.
Well, I'm having iced tea. Because this past Friday, I was volunteering at the beer fest. I actually had someone come over. It was not like a random person who doesn't know who I am, but they came over and talked about how they watched the channel. It was a friend of a friend. He always does the beer fest, but my buddy Sonny, who is the person who kind of organizes our group, his coworker has cards, and he's like, "You should watch my buddy's channel," and he watches. So shout out to Dave. He has a lot of vintage stuff, and he's like, I almost bought a PSA 1. He was telling me the story about almost buying a PSA 1 Mickey Mantle for like $3,000 like years ago. And he goes, that's probably worth a lot more now. I go, yeah, sure is. Sure is. He goes, I didn't buy it because it had like this, like his face had this like mark on it. So it didn't present very well. And I'm like, well, nowadays no one gives a shit about that. They just like to look at the label. No one's looking at the card. What are we talking about? So, but no, I had a really good time. I had such a good time. I'm drinking iced tea a couple of days later. So, probably going to take a little beer break, but I'll be back at some point. With a couple of beers. But before I kick it off to EP, because I know you guys are going to be talking about the card show you guys went to. We are up to 7 people confirmed for the Cheers break. So that did get pushed back. It's going to be the beginning of March now. Got pushed back from Rittenhouse. The 2 cases I got, one for myself and then one to break for the channel, are getting shipped directly from Rittenhouse. So I should get them like on release day. So I'm hoping to have the break sometime around there. We haven't like opened it up to non-channel folks yet, but Mike and I have been talking about, maybe promoting it on Twitter to sell those last 5 spots. I prefer to keep it with channel folks, but I don't want to be in the break myself since I am breaking. So
Yeah,
I'd prefer not to be. I'd prefer not to be so, but I definitely want to make sure we get this break done. So, and there's going to be some giveaways. I've already talked to some
Can
folks
we win?
about. We've talked about this. Yeah, you're buying in, man. You're buying in. So there's going to be some giveaways. It should be a fun time. The set looks awesome. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So if you are interested, my socials, Mike's been putting them down, joeday17821, or you can email me, joeday17821 at gmail.com. So let me know if you are interested.
And I think we said, I guess you have to do all the socials at once, right? All the socials and
Yeah,
email.
yeah. Make sure you hit me on every
everything.
single social. Yeah, yeah,
And
please.
keep sending them over
Yes.
and over.
Yeah.
Every like
Just to make sure.
1.5 to 2 hours would be good. Yeah.
I'll put those on mute.
That won't piss Joe off at
No,
all.
not at all.
Better than some of the better. I got in an argument. We'll talk about it during one of the things, but I got in an argument back and forth about something on Twitter. Shocking. And I prefer people saying I went in the cheers break every hour than D-bags trying to argue with me about something so obvious on Twitter any day of the week. Give me the cheers break people instead, for sure.
How's it going, EP? How was
It's
your
going
week?
great. It's going great. I did not have a beer fest, so I'm going to have a beer myself.
There you go.
As usual. But also, I had a card show yesterday. I went set up at a card show. Set up with my buddy Rob. Like I told him, I'll get a third table. Just come hang out. We were going to set up at the East Juniata show, but that got canceled because of snow and stuff. So I said, you know what? There's a mall show. Let's just do this one. So, yeah, we set up. I set up together, but like I was so busy that I barely had time to really talk to him. I don't know if it was as busy as the last show, but there were fewer dealers. So I feel like there were more people like buying, and there were a lot of people there. Don't get me wrong. There about 10 o'clock, 10:30. It really just took off. Like there was just a ton of people there, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of people. I'm so excited about it. I'm not gonna drink my beer. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of people talking to me. Like I had a couple people comment about the variety I have in my case. I have like Spider-Man prisms, and I have like Marvel cards, and I have the one of the Halo cards, like baseball, football, basketball. I got all this like stuff in there. I had a lot of people commenting saying got a really good selection of cards there. I had a lot of people buying again those $5 and $10 cards that moved so well last time. People that sit down and go through my 10-cent boxes every time. They ask for a chair and sit down and go through them. And that I love that too. I had one guy that spent $15 just on 10-cent cards. Like it's
a lot
wild.
of cards.
Yeah. So just like a really cool thing. I had a lot of fun as well. Of course, Mike was there. That always adds to the excitement and the fun. Brought me coffee as usual. I appreciate it as always. Michael Jones also showed up. That was great. Like he also brought Joe's box that both Joe's been trying to sell me that has a bunch of non-sports stuff in it. So I finally got that from him. Just overall, just a fun time. I made decent money too. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was a really good show monetarily for me as well. So yeah, I'm gonna let Mike talk here for a little bit because I know he had his usual card show stuff. And then I have a couple of little stories that we'll talk about as we go.
I didn't do anything. I just
get out of here.
It was a little disappointing from my side because there weren't many dealers there, and about half of them were selling Pokemon. There was even a Magic the Gathering table, which was packed, by the way. There were like 3-4 people deep. I was looking over at this table my first walk around. I'm like, what? And I saw he had Magic cards. I was like, wow. So yeah, the gaming stuff is so hot. The Pokemon tables were super busy too, but there weren't a lot. Yeah, it seemed like there were more Pokemon dealers there, and there weren't as many dealers as usual. So from a buying perspective, it was, I found some good stuff. The one guy, I had been buying a lot of wax because of my sale. The pack sale I had a little while ago, and he had boxes of single cards. And I looked through those and I bought probably about $150 worth of cards from him. And I was like, have you always had these? He's like, yeah, you were just too busy looking at the boxes. I was like, okay. I literally did not know he ever had those boxes of single cards there. So.
Focus. That's called focus, Mike. That's a good thing in the hobby.
Well, that's what I said. These are focused. I've been doing a much better job of buying for what sales I have coming up. But the worst thing for me to ever do is to have money in my pocket and be going like, I don't know what I want to buy, because then I buy everything. So I've been doing a better job of saying, okay, I'm going to be doing this, concentrating on that, and not veering off too much. So yeah. pretty good. I mean, always a good time though. I love going to the local shows. We all know each other. You talk to people. It run into other people walking around. Dan Merrill, we ran into Dan again.
Oh, Dan was there. Fairweather
came into
Dan.
my shop years ago. Yeah, I run into him all the time at the shows now. So that's pretty awesome that he's still collecting after all these years. And yeah, had a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like you were talking about the Pokemon, the Pokemon collector, the Pokemon tables and collectors. I actually sold, like I had a box of a booster box of Scarlet and Violet, and I sold all but 4 packs of that at $5. Well, it was like four for 15 or for $5 a pack, something like that. It was a pretty good deal to buy a lot of them, because I've had this box since that launched like I think 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, something like that. So I sold them like that. They were just kept selling. So I'm gonna definitely have Pokemon packs to open from our next show, just because of how well they sold. But every time I turn around and look at the Pokemon dealers behind me, I think the row behind me had 3 Pokemon dealers. People were standing like 2 and 3 deep waiting to get in. And I talked to the guy that was right behind me afterward, and he was like, yeah, I'm like one person. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think his girlfriend was there like to help out or whatever, but like he's the one doing the negotiation for stuff. And he's like, has to tell people, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I got to take care of these first. He had somebody waiting for an hour, he said, while he was taking care of like two other people, like just because of how crazy it is. And he said, this isn't even the worst of it. He said the Harrisburg Mall, it is that times like 1,000. Like he said, it's like magnified, incredible, like just a whole huge crowd of people like waiting to get at his table. He said it's just insane. And so like it's just a wild thing. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna have some myself. One of the things that we all saw there was somebody. I wonder if this is related to the Magic the Gathering cards, possibly. Somebody who was literally dressed up like a gladiator from olden times. We're talking metal gauntlets, metal chest plate, had like a deer.
I felt like it was more like a barbarian.
It was like kind of like barbarian, but also he had like, but he did have like the gauntlets, like metal gauntlets and a metal like chest plate, like for real, like walking around the mall. 3 of us saw it. We can verify.
Do we think he lost a bet?
That's possible. I mean, I was like, is there a movie that just came out that maybe he's like cosplaying for the movie or something? But like that was my only thought. But I have no idea what maybe he lost. Yeah, maybe he lost a bet. Maybe he lost his fantasy football league or something. And had to.
That's the first thing that I thought of too. That's wild. Yeah. I'm very upset. 3 of you saw it. Not a single picture for me to see.
Well, the thing is, like I said, Mike Jones, he was like, he said about it. He said, you didn't see him? I was like, no. And he's like, he said, I'll let you know next time. And so I'm sitting there talking. I was talking to Mike, or I was talking to a customer or something like that. And I feel like Mike going like this, hit me in the leg. Mike Jones like, hey, hit me in the leg. And it's like, and I was like, what? And he looked up, and I looked up, and there he was.
Joe,
just like going in the barbarian.
You say about the picture, but let me tell you, when you see a barbarian / gladiator in real life, it's scary. Like, I'm not taking my chance pulling out my camera to take a picture, because I don't know where it might go from there.
And he probably doesn't even know what a phone and a camera are. So, I assume
he definitely did not lose a bet, because he was walking around very confidently and very happy, I think. So good for him. Maybe he had a LARPing thing somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
that's possible.
We're not here to yuck yums. Do your thing. If you want to walk around just like a barbarian, go ahead and do it, man. Have fun. Enjoy.
I might do that next show. You never know.
Do you remember the Seinfeld episode where George's dad was meeting with his lawyer, who was played by Larry David, wearing a cape? He just wore a cape randomly out on the street. Maybe this is this guy's thing. Maybe that's what he dresses in. Maybe his job for some reason requires him to dress like this. Who knows? But it sounds like a glorious time there at the Susquehanna Valley Mall.
Always. Speaking of Larry David, by the way, I'm out on the Larry David.
Oh yeah. Oh, me too.
Like over $1,000? No, I'm good.
No, I heard they were over 3,000. I heard they were going for like 3,000. I think it was Dustin who was mentioning like a couple of them went for 3,000. Maybe they've lowered as more have been pulled. But yeah, it's definitely more than 4 figures, or definitely 4 figures and above.
Not buying those.
It's got to be the first time he's ever signed on a card, probably, right? Like he's probably never signed before.
I mean, it's a great card. I'd love to.
Might be his first ever card, to be honest. I can't think of any other. I know Seinfeld never had a set, so I don't know if he had cards before. But yeah, that's. I knew it would be expensive. I didn't know it was going to be that expensive. I was thinking
maybe $300-400. Maybe
I was thinking maybe 5, but something like that. 5 I would be considering, but yeah. By the way, before we go to the news, Eagle Eye viewers might know I finally got the case up. Case number 2 is officially up. So I feel like I'm finally done. I'm finally done with the setup. I feel good about it. What are you looking at?
There's like a ugly red card in the middle there that just like throws everything off. Yeah, that should be
nice
just take that out and
1997
burn it.
PMG of
Ugly.
Mr. Bert Emmanuel.
Mike, you just see a plain red card with no player on it. You see
It's like
plain
a
red
John
card. It's
Cena
not even
situation.
Yeah, it's just a foil card with nobody on it.
Yeah,
Clearly,
right there.
nobody is on there.
And unintentionally put right in the center. Like
Unintentionally,
I had no thoughts of putting that one anywhere. It just kind of that's where it ended up, you know. Bam, right here.
Right in the center and right where everyone can see it. Make sure you can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unintentional.
It's like a waste of money to me. By the way, watch the show on Wednesday if you want to hear more things that are a waste of money.
Yes.
So you guys want to get into it. I'm going to get into it right here. We like to talk about things being stolen in the hobby. This week, there was a former employee from Cards HQ that was arrested for apparently stealing $20,000-ish worth of merchandise. Name was Steven Adams. I think he goes by the name of Grizz, which Grizzly Adams, of course. He has a
okay.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Good callback. But again, the guy could be a criminal, allegedly. So maybe we shouldn't be,
praising him.
Excited about the nickname. Anyway, I wanted to bring this up to you, EP, because you work in the newspaper business. The Marietta Daily Journal did a article about his arrest and talked about him stealing stuff and doing live selling and stealing items that were supposed to be sold in the live selling. The guy then posted an Instagram video saying, I never stole anything from anybody. I don't even do the live selling. I did breaking, but I never took anybody's cards or anything. So weird thing, first of all, to see a guy making a video right away and claiming, but I believe all the stuff he was saying was factual because Jeff Wilson then came out and said, no. He was not like stealing stuff was stolen. The dude was taking boxes of cards and then he was like changing the inventory and like manipulating that to make it look like they didn't have this stuff to try to cover the fact that he was stealing cards. So you have a newspaper that got the story all wrong. You have a guy claiming his innocence, but I watched the video. He never talked about taking boxes of cards. He said he never stole anything when he was breaking, didn't take anybody's cards. But Jeff then came out and no, that's not what you did, though.
He stole from me, not from the customers. Don't worry, everyone.
This is obviously news because of it being Cards HQ, but just another sign, as this isn't a ha-ha to Jeff. Like, I feel badly for anybody that has a business that has somebody doing that. And it's not I'm sure it was a uncomfortable situation to have to find this out. But it just everywhere in this hobby, there are people that take jobs. Like we talked about the person that was doing the mail sorting that took the job and started ripping stuff off right away. This guy's working here ripping stuff off. It's just everywhere anymore in the hobby, and clearly nobody's immune from it. Go ahead, EP.
Yeah, even Cards HQ and Jeff Wilson aren't immune to the scammers and scum that are in this hobby. That's not crazy to think about because we've all witnessed so much of it happening. That's not a big deal. On the news side of it, I can tell you that for personal experience, a few things possibly happened here. One of our rules is for something like this is we use the police report. That is what we report on. And then if there's a problem, we say, well, take it up with the state police, take it up with the local police, because we use their document. We didn't try to interject any sort of information based on, I'm guessing what probably happened was it might have been, a young reporter, an experienced reporter, something like that. Tried to do more, try to look into what Cards HQ did as far as breaking that sort of stuff, tried to interject some of the stuff in instead of just following the police report. If you follow the police report, then if people complain, you can just say, here's what the police told us. We can produce a document that says this is what the police gave us. This is what we went by. We're talking about the media law. Like that is one of the most like, huge things you can do. You attribute that stuff to somebody, give it to somebody, say, this is where we got it. This is why it happened. And then when people get upset, like, listen, we're just telling what the police said. This is public information that we're providing to the service we're providing to our readers. And then the next part of it is, I feel like I lost my train of thought. Completely lost my train of thought.
EP, would you like me to go while you try and find it?
Yeah, please.
Tag in, Joe. Tag in.
Yes. As far as getting the news story wrong, this is not the first time that something major in the hobby happened and the quote unquote mainstream media got it wrong. There was the mainstream media, whether you believe it or not, Newsmax, whether you believe they're mainstream media or not, they did report on the backyard breaks situation. And they got a lot of the facts wrong. They got just plain out, like, Grant does not actually have a daughter. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they got a lot of these facts actually wrong. This newspaper getting a lot of the facts wrong. And it proves once again, people outside the hobby really don't understand this hobby. And that's a problem. And we talk about, oh, will the hobby ever be regulated? We've talked about court cases, and it seems judges, lawyers, reporters have no idea how this hobby is run. Someone should just hire Paul Lesko and have it be the hobby lawyer czar that, if you're a reporter and you have a question about the hobby, reach out to Paul. If you're a lawyer doing some sort of case or a judge, bring in Paul as an expert witness. Like, you need more of that, because there are so many people that report on the hobby, that talk about the hobby, that have no clue about the hobby. And it just makes things worse because there's so much misinformation out there. So I don't know. To EP's point, the reporter should have done what EP would have done, went by the police report. Don't inject anything that you don't know is fact. As for Cards HQ being ripped off, that does suck. I've been there. I'm not a huge fan of Jeff, but no one should. Come on. It's so gross that now, you're worrying about hiring anyone because you don't know their true motives for wanting the job. Like, hey, on the interview, can you ask, do you plan on stealing from me? Can we make sure that that's not a possibility? I mean, because at the end, and maybe kind of like read their eyes as they answer, like, no, I don't plan on stealing from you. Like, I don't know. It's gross that you have to worry about that. But if boxes of cards cost $50, this would not ever happen. I mean, not never happen, but because of the hobby being so valuable now, because of everything in the hobby being so valuable, it's going to breed stuff like this to happen. And this is another example of it.
I think to that point also, like, if you're asking people, I mean, like, typically in a job like this, you would want somebody interested in cards to be knowledgeable about cards, to work in a card shop, but also there's a 50-50 shot, at least 50-50 probably, that somebody's looking to scam you, like that they're gonna, or they're not looking to, but they're gonna find a way to scam you, because that's kind of just what this hobby does. To Joe's one point, he like the reporters, I've witnessed this myself, where sometimes they assume they know something instead of actually checking and making a phone call and trying to make sure that they get the information right. And I've seen that happen before, where somebody is kind of way out of their element and they start talking about something. And I'm like, as an editor, it's our jobs to like say, whoa, like, is this correct and this correct and this correct? Because this doesn't seem right. This doesn't add up. The thing that I forgot about that I wanted to say is the dude who put out the video or whatever saying, I never did X, Y, and Z. We had an example of this where somebody called us complaining about the police report that we put in the paper. And they were like, well, don't you want to call us and get our side of the story? I was like, typically your lawyer's going to tell you, don't say anything until we got until you get to court or whatever. So that dude putting that video out was just an example.
The guy said he had a lawyer though, too, in the video.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah.
Well, he didn't get advice from him before he posted that. That's for sure.
He didn't say anything that wasn't true. Like, he talked about the stuff he didn't do, and clearly he did something else.
Makes him feel like he's more guilty. Like, I definitely committed this crime, but I didn't commit these other crimes that the paper's reporting on. Just let's focus on the crimes I absolutely did commit. That's what it feels like when you're putting out a video like that. Like, don't, yeah, sure, I totally did this. This over here, I would never do. That's terrible. I would never consider stealing from customers. I'm only stealing from the sports card investor. Everyone, I should be a hero, right? Applaud me. But yeah, it's a weird thing to do.
Very much. And $20,000 in cards, that could have been like 3 boxes.
That's a really good point. You didn't have to do much work. That's like one case of Star Wars Galactic Empire or whatever it's called. What's it called?
Galactic Antiquities. Yeah.
Antiquities. Yeah.
I know that we sometimes, poke fun at Jeff and may point some criticism his way, but I feel like the 3 of us collectively should offer our services. If he wants us to pre-screen his new hires and we can, kind of run them through the hoops here and see how they do, I would be more than happy to volunteer my time to do that for him. We'll just get together. We'll record it. We'll put them down in the bottom right-hand corner there, and we'll let the viewers decide whether or not Jeff should hire them. So Jeff,
gladiator style.
Absolutely.
Gladiator style.
So good. Oh, all right. Well, I have some Victor Wembanyama news for you. Not what you think.
Just a little. Okay.
I'm going to start with this news. His 2024 Prism Black 1 of 1 was pulled by a breaker the day before the cards were released. Now, we see this happening a lot with Panini product, especially, and some with Topps product. A lot of breakers, again, on this place called Whatnot, which still hasn't done anything to Grant and Backyard Breaks, and Grant now has a new name for a new account and is totally part of
No one would have ever guessed that.
Totally trying to make you think that none of this ever happened, but don't forget that it did happen. I'm going to remind you every week. You don't want to hear it, but I'm going to remind you. But yes, the Prism Black 1 of 1 pulled before the cards are even released. This is getting to be a little bit of a problem. It just is not a good one. I'm not going to buy the product. I'm not going to get that card anyway. But for the people that are going to spend the money that this stuff costs, it would be nice that maybe the best or one of the best cards was still in the product on the day it was released. Or am I just an old guy yelling at the clouds?
Panini needs to take, both are true. Panini needs to take a page out of Fanatics book and not tell people when big hits are pulled, and that way, or hold product back so big hits aren't.
It was a
pulled.
Breaker though, so people knew.
Yeah. So they needed to hold.
They didn't let anybody know. Panini.
They need to hold that product back like Fanatics does then, I think, and make sure that palette with the 101, make sure that's still in the warehouse. So hold on. So what they need? No, I'm not going to do it. It's my head. It still hurts from the beer fest. So
2 days later,
I know. So what generally happens though is obviously breakers get this product ahead of time and they're told don't break it until noon on whatever day that is. And I know like some companies like Upper Deck is really strict about this. I think it was Titan Sports. It's the one where Ali, who is a breaker. No, not that one. It was Titans Cards or whatever. But anyway, their main breaker, Ali, who then went to Sports Card Investor and Fanatics breaking for them. They said Upper Deck would like cut off their supply of Upper Deck product if they opened it before they were allowed to. So Panini should be doing something about this because not only probably the biggest chase of the product has been pulled already, which is going to make people not want to buy into breaks. It's going to make people not want to buy boxes. I mean, people still will, don't get me wrong, but that's one massive chase taken out of it. They really need to be stricter about this. And joking aside about Fanatics, they're taking over the hobby completely in the next year or two. They need to make sure that breakers know that as well, or they get their distribution cut off.
I mean, there are a handful of things here that are at play, and one of the things that I think about is I think to the gaming, the gaming world, where people will get something like the most recent Call of Duty game, most recent Madden game early. Like they'll I know somebody at the GameStop, and I walked into GameStop and they said, oh yeah, we have that, and they go into the back and they bring it out and they give it to them, stuff like that. Then they do a live stream, and then all of a sudden every eyeball in the gaming world is on them because they are the only ones that have it, or one of the few handfuls that have it. So I see this as like an opportunity for the breaker. Like they're probably like, okay, well, this is my chance to hit it big. But I do agree though that like all of a sudden now with this, and I also wonder how much of this product was opened. Like they probably wasn't just one case, right? There's probably like multiple people doing this, including this person who probably opened multiple cases before they finally hit this one-of-one. It wasn't just like the very first case that was opened of this product had this in it. There's probably a lot of it out there that got opened early. Like I wonder how much of it got opened early. I wonder how much of it ended up in the hands of people who aren't even streaming that got it early as well. Like there's probably a lot of things at play here as far as that's concerned. But the one really big concern is that, like you said, Joe, like this one-on-one already being pulled, like that's going to hurt the value, the prices people can charge for breaks. And I think that's going to be something where, because people aren't, I mean, obviously you said that one of the biggest chases, I don't think there's probably a bigger chase in the product. Like it's probably not even close. That's probably
because he doesn't have autographs in this, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I think
it's just numbered cards for him.
He's top exclusive, right? For autos, I think. So yeah, so I mean, so this is the absolute card that you're gonna want to pull. Yes, there are other ones that are okay, but so they're gonna I'm guessing the breakers prices dropped dramatically across the board for everybody, every breaker, like literally the day of launch, which is insane to think about because that's supposed to be the day when everything is at its peak in price wise.
Or they'll just keep selling it and act like it wasn't pulled and not let people know that card was already pulled.
Yeah,
it probably won't make too big of a difference. But this kind of thing has been going on for a while with Panini products. I know a lot of the wrestling, I kept seeing that over and over, that people were saying they're breaking it like 2 days before it even comes out. And the bottom line, Panini just doesn't care anymore. They don't care. What do they care? I saw they had an upside down JJ McCarthy autograph sticker on
no, they didn't. Seriously?
Yes, they did. I saw the breaker because they pulled it out and they were looking at it and they thought it looked funny, and they pulled another autograph, and like his J's are very distinct and they were on the wrong side of the autograph. They don't care. Panini does not care.
EP, don't shake your head about sticker autos, because we're going to be talking about a product here shortly where I think it's even worse and more egregious with the sticker autos.
Well, I'm not ahead of the horse.
I'm not
a horse, but I'm just saying it's not just Panini that does shitty stuff with sticker autos. Was this a second year Wembanyama, Mike? Yeah. So I don't know if it maybe there's, I don't know if there's any rookies. I honestly don't watch enough basketball.
I think the class has been considered pretty weak. I think.
Okay. So this probably is the chase, right? Since there's no rookies, but yeah, I just it's a shame that this happens. But you're right, Mike. At this point, what's it matter to Panini? This is probably one of the last couple of years that we make in this product. So to them, it's like open it whenever. We sold it to the distributors already. So at this point, but this is something that should be cracked down on, and I wouldn't be surprised if Fanatics actually does crack down on it, because they don't want sales to drop, right? They want to make sure they can sell.
They want to hold that back.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said at the top, they would just want to keep it in the warehouse at 101 until they sell out pretty much of the product.
I just feel like I don't sit down sticker auto.
I don't want to. Oh, no, I got breaking news here. Victor Wembanyama is injured, and he's out for the rest of the year. Oh my gosh. We're breaking this news podcast right now. No, we're joking. I'm sorry to cut into what you were saying there, EP, but Victor Wembanyama is hurt. Basketball cards are doomed. They're all going to be worthless now. Everything is crashing down. This is the point. You know, the meme where it's everything fine with stuff burning around. We are finally at this point in the hobby. Basketball cards are doomed. It's all over with. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but breaking news, have to interrupt.
That's right, because I'm not going to go back to what I was going to say, because I need to address this thing right here that you're talking about. I don't know where the Spurs are in the standings, but I'm guessing they weren't going to be a contender for the playoffs anyway. Like the NBA is going to be fine. They've still got Steph Curry, still got LeBron, they still got Luka. They're going to be fine. Obviously, the people who bought the Topps Mercury stuff, they're sweating a little bit. They're a little worried because a blood clot injury is not very common. It seems very unique to me. It seems like something
thrombosis.
Yeah, and it seems to me maybe something that could possibly be recurring or be I mean, there was somebody even said that there was a former player who ended their career was ended because of this injury. I don't remember what the player it was, but I mean, like, so you're thinking about that, like that is scary to think about. But that's just the one player, and the NBA is still ridiculously popular, like that. And that, you know, I just hate to put it this way, but if he would be hurt and never play again, he would probably be forgotten, and NBA would move on.
They'd find their next. I don't care about the NBA. I care about card collecting. That's what we're talking about here. This is horrible. This is huge. Like this is what the people that bought South Mercury are saying. I have a little bit of info here because I like to do research when I talk about things on the podcast.
Okay.
The Victor Wembanyama Prism Silver rookie card and a PSA 10.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple weeks ago was selling for $800 to $900. This week already, it has dropped to $700 since the injury was announced, and some were like as low as $650. You're seeing like a third drop already in the price of his cards. And I know LeBron's a good player. I know Steph Curry's a good player, but they've been around. This guy was the only player that people wanted to pull out of NBA products in 2023. Like, this is a huge hit to the hobby because, first of all, you're going to have a lot of people that let's hope that he gets better. Let's hope this doesn't end his career, because that would be horrible, because I want to see him play because he's a unique and fantastic player. But, like, I'm glad I don't collect basketball cards right now because I would be shitting bricks, for lack of a better term to describe it with.
Was that from Christmas Vacation? You can't say that word. Oh, I'm sorry. Shitting rocks. So we've made jokes in the past, or I'll see something on like late night and like record it and be like, no one was talking about Drew Brees. Then all of a sudden we talk about him on the podcast or on one of our shows, and he's on, Colbert's show or whatever. Like, what is going on? Or someone will say something. I was making a joke about plastics ruining the environment. Someone will say something about it, and I'll record and send it to you guys. We'll have a laugh about it. I think what happened here is Victor Wembanyama was watching our show last week, our Wednesday show, where we said, when you collect players that are active, they can get hurt. And he's like, that's a good point. So I'm going to go and get hurt. And I think we're influencing the hobby right now a little too much, unfortunately. So we apologize to everyone that Victor Wembanyama watched our show on Wednesday and decided to get hurt.
Our hobby influence is like leaking over into the real world.
Yeah.
Like it's affecting the real world players and stuff.
Really?
It might be. EP, I didn't even think about Mercury. Woo! Yeah. And the people that bought, and I'm sure there are people out there that bought Mercury and kept it sealed. Imagine what those are going for now. Now, I don't know enough about this injury. It's not like a torn ACL or something, where there's recovery timelines that people can look at. I don't know enough about it, and I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. But I'd be wildly nervous. But this could be also a good opportunity. I mean, if you've been wanting to collect his cards for a while, and you see, Mike's research there, and wait a few more weeks, wait until the offseason, wait until, because he's out for the year, wait until maybe closer to the playoffs, and his cards are just going to keep dropping, and maybe pick something up if you've been looking and you didn't want to spend $1,000 for a PSA 10 silver or whatever. So maybe you can get it for $400 or $500 in a month or two. So maybe this is an opportunity for people. We talk about people losing money. Well, now maybe someone's loss is someone else's gain. It's heartless to say that way, but you're kind of in this hobby, and you can see how expensive cards can get. This is your opportunity, perhaps, to it's like buying a baseball player who got PEDs or whatever. We were joking, maybe we should go as a channel. Were you thinking that too, Mike? Maybe
I was going to ask if EP had any updates on Fernando Tatis.
Yeah. Where's that Fernando Tatis market update, EP?
Maybe he can do it for Victor Wemby.
Yeah, let's do it for Wemby and buy one of his big time silver prism rookies or something.
To say a little bit on the heartless side, like, do we think the collectors that we're collecting Wembanyama now, maybe some of them go over to Caitlin Clark, who is this other mercurial type figure in the hobby space right now. Everybody's kind of like trying to is clamoring over to try to get their cards. Do you think that some of the Wembanyama collectors then move over to, and not that that some of them weren't already doing it, but do you think that increases that number?
They got to move to something.
I think that either they already are, or if they aren't, they're not going to.
Okay.
Because like I feel like she's such a big name and is such a big spot in the hobby now that if you're somebody that only collected Wemby and not her, there's probably a reason for that you hate the WNBA or something like that, and or you think that, oh, this is ridiculous, in a year her cards are going to be worthless. So I feel like they won't just go. They're going to put their money probably somewhere else, but I don't know that it would necessarily be her, or I could be totally wrong. What do I know? I just host a podcast. I don't know anything.
I just wanted to say
that's fair.
And that's legitimate. I'm not saying that sarcastically, like, oh, look at no, I literally don't know anything. I just talk and give you my opinion. Go ahead, EP.
I did say it to the point where, like, with Wembanyama never playing again, that's right. I really hope he does get better, and I like the deep vein thrombosis. Tough to say really fast. So yeah. But that is like, I mean, you're worried about a blood clot breaking free and going to the lung or the brain or whatever. Like, so I mean, like, seriously, this is a serious injury. Please, like, don't think that we're not that we're completely heartless about this. We definitely hope he feels better and everything like that. And if it ends up the kind of thing where it's that or playing or living, like, definitely choose to live. But anyhow, I just want to say that.
Choose to live. That's great advice for anyone. Kind of like my joke. Just choose to be rich. I don't know why people would choose something else. Choose to live. I'll put that on a t-shirt. But you were right, EP. They're kind of, the Spurs are kind of out of it. And again, I don't know basketball at all, but this is now his second year, right? The Spurs are kind of out of it in their conference. They're a couple games back, I guess, from the play-in, whatever. But they're still kind of out of it. If the playoffs started today, they'd be out of it. Caitlin Clark took her terrible team to the WNBA playoffs her first year, and she was the reason. Let's be fair, she was the reason that they made the playoffs. Is Wemby as good as everyone's giving him credit for before this injury? Like, was it? Oh well, if he is as good as people want to say he is, don't you think he would have lifted that boat a little bit better?
And oranges, though. You can't.
Yeah, like Mike said, he's a very unique player. Like Mike said, he's a very unique player. Like somebody we haven't seen before, kind of in the NBA. Like we're not seen very often in the NBA.
And I think the NBA has more. Like every team has more star players and stuff. That WNBA isn't as big of a talent pool overall as the NBA is. So I think it's easier for somebody with that kind of talent like Caitlin Clark to make a huge impact for her team in the WNBA. It's a lot easier than it is in the NBA. And there's a lot of stuff with the salary cap and money and
I get what you guys are saying, but if he is a world-changing player, if he is that unicorn, I don't like how many years do you give him of being that unicorn, saying, "Oh, he's just a great player on a consistently bad team, and he's not good enough to raise that team up. He's just good enough to be a good player." I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying.
Took a team that was really bad though and made them way not as bad. He needs people around him to help get to the playoff level. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, sorry. I mean. Then it's fine. It's just, I mean, he's like, you think about you're in the NBA, they're still competing against LeBron and Luka and Steph Curry and these players who are like all-time greats, Hall of Famers. And I realize that there are several of those kinds of players.
Does he play them every week though? I don't know.
No, I'm talking in terms of the standings and getting to the playoffs, that sort of stuff. And I feel like that is not that there aren't great players in the WNBA, but you don't hear people talking about those players the same way a lot of people talk about the NBA.
People don't watch the WNBA, and don't tell me you do. Don't you look at me and tell me you still watch the WNBA. You've never watched it.
There's an incredible irony of three guys debating the NBA when none of us really watch the NBA.
Right. I'm just asking questions.
We apologize to anybody who actually knows something about basketball.
Comment down below if Wemby is as great as his card prices say he is. Or
but
is he
moving on, I have some rainbows and unicorns to talk about here because the world is now a better place after EP's morbid talk about Victor Wembanyama brought us all down. I'm going to bring us back
His
up
life.
because Topps Chrome Football was finally released. And now we get to see the beauty that is unlicensed 2024 Topps Chrome Football. How many boxes do you guys buy? I have like 18 coming.
To quote Joe, boop boop boop. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
Get me out of here.
EP, do you want to defend it first before I slam it, or
I'm
how
not
do we
going to
want to do
defend
this?
it. Go ahead. No, I'll pay up. I'll play off yours.
I tell you what, I didn't buy any of it, Mike. I watched a lot of breaks though, and holy crap, was that stuff bad. I watched our boys Ed and Chuck open up a couple boxes, and holy crap, was that stuff bad. It was. And, you know, Ed, ever the optimist, because he's sinking money into this, he's like, oh, this box is pretty good, an above average box. I don't know if it was, Ed. Your big hit was an unlicensed Malik Neighbors autograph card. That was the big hit of the box. The second box was worse. It was brutal. $350 he paid for his. I don't know where they're going out on the market. 101s are being pulled, so that price should come down. I saw the Jaden Daniels 101 Superfractor regular, and then the auto were pulled. But yeah, for $350, I expected more. And if it's $350 unlicensed without all the players, because they can't have certain players in it, how much is it going to be next year, EP? Like, it's got to be 500, right? $499.99.
Yeah, it's going to be outrageous. Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about it. Like the like unlicensed products is like for me, when I see one, I'm not quite sure. Like there's something. Sure, there's probably parts of it, possibly parts of it that I like or whatever. There's something about it. It's almost something about that makes it feel off. It's almost like when you're watching a movie like The Truman Show or something like that, and the character, the lead character, finally starts to realize, like, finally starts to see through everything and sees what is like what is real. Like they seem like they're a real card, but they're not. I just don't like it. Like, I mean, I cannot handle it now. So unlicensed stuff for them to, again, for 2 years, right? 2 years of besmirching the Topps Chrome before they had a chance to actually get a licensed card on it, licensed product. And here we are. And it's upsetting for them to, they're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and give them this garbage.
And here we are. And, there are a lot of people, you'll watch videos and stuff, and people say a lot of nice things about it. There's a reason they're talking nice about Topps product, because they're afraid to say anything bad because they'll lose their allocation. Let's understand that. We don't have allocation, so we can give our honest opinion. I'm going to give mine right now. If you like this product, fine. I feel like it's really overpriced, especially for an unlicensed set. They'll show you pictures of like straight on with the helmet where you don't really notice that the logo isn't there. But then when you see the other cards with nothing on it, it's just awful to me. Mm-hmm. I've seen bad airbrushing. Joe, you saw the one with Ladd McConkey having the wrong number airbrushed on his jersey. There is some awful airbrushing in this. A lot of sticker autographs. And yes, I know people want to argue. I don't think they ever said that these wouldn't. But keep in mind, Michael Rubin has many times said that they want to get on-card autos because they know collectors don't like stickers, yet this set is mostly sticker autographs. It's just the reason they did that was clearly because they had a lot of leftover autograph stickers, because Caleb Williams, who does not wear number 13 in the pros, has a sticker signed CB13 on one of his patch cards, an RPA out of 50. And they used the CB13 or CW13 autograph on it. I don't, it's clearly a money grab. This is what we're going to get. If you don't think the Fanatics wants to grab money, or some people argue in the comments, just go look at what they've done with jerseys since they took over that whole market of the sports apparel. They make mistakes all the time. They don't care because people keep buying it. They have all of that to themselves. They have this. This is what we're going to get to buy. They don't care. Disappointing, but this one, at least mask it a little bit. That is not a money grab. Maybe give us something that's a little better put together product. That's all I ask.
when you have what is legally not a monopoly, legally, I am legally obligated to say it is not a monopoly.
not.
But
You've used the
when it
word monopoly twice.
yeah,
So keep
but
going.
when it feels like one, this is what you're going to get. This is exactly what you're going to get. There's going to be no competition, so they don't have to step it up. Same thing with Panini the last however many years that they didn't have competition. They started off people love 2013 Prism. People love it. They think it's one of the best sets ever made. And then they started going downhill, 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 because again, there was zero competition. To the sticker autos, this is what I got back and forth with someone on Twitter about. I don't mind sticker autos, but to your point, EP, about the JJ McCarthy one earlier, Panini doesn't care because they have senioritis. Fanatics needs to care. Fanatics needs to care. They are taking this over.
But Joe, we have all these extra stickers that they signed for other stuff we didn't get to use yet.
Yeah. Maybe put those on products that aren't $350. That Lad McConkey one was off the sticker. It was off the sticker, and that is
top and bottom.
A top and bottom, and that was Ed. Sorry, Ed. I was flaming your card here, but that was terrible. And they took his college uniform and they airbrushed that instead of airbrushing out the pro logos of his Chargers uniform. He's not number 84. He was 84 in college. Okay. And one of probably the biggest hits in the product is a dual autograph of Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. And guess what it is? Sticker autos. Numbered out of 5. Sticker autos. Like, I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with sticker autos. I'm fine. But you know what? Some products, some cards just shouldn't be sticker autos. They just shouldn't. And, the people whining and complaining, oh, but it's easier for them. They can sign a bunch of stickers and mail them back and do that. They don't have to sign cards. They don't
apologize for them.
It has no connection to the card.
Right. It has no connection to the card. And the guy goes, yeah, players can sign them on an airplane. And I said about the Lad McConkey one, I go, it looks like he was signing them on the airplane that landed on its roof. That's what it looked like. I mean, it was just so terrible. Like, I don't mind. Fine. If you're going to have sticker autos, make the stickers bigger or tell the players you are not getting credit for the autos that go off the sticker. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Hold them to a standard. And I disagree with the guy who was arguing with me about, well, they're at the mercy of the players. No, they're not. They get paid for this. They are not at the mercy of the players. Don't pay them or get the league involved. Michael Rubin, you have all these connections with the league, right? That's what you touted when you went and you said, I'm going to make these great cards. Well, okay, then with the league and with the Players Association, you need to get them to actually care. But the problem is he doesn't care. So why should they? Right?
Yeah. Speaking about caring, like this product, there's like we talked about the Panini, the JJ McCarthy autograph. The reason I was so upset is like somebody did it on purpose. I feel like somebody put that sticker on purpose upside down. Like, and they just and nobody cared enough to say we can't send that card out. And I wonder, I don't know if it's numbered or whatever, but like that is just like completely not caring. And this product is such a half-ass product. I'm talking about the Topps Chrome now. It's such a half-ass product. How is airbrushing like better back in the 90s than it is now? Like, how are they still so bad at it?
70s or 80s style airbrushing. Yeah, it's bad.
Like, and then also the sticker autos, like, yeah, there's like, we got all these stickers left. Let's just throw them in a bunch of products, but then don't charge people the amount of money you're charging them for Topps Chrome. Like treat it, if you're going to completely half-ass a product, then don't whole ass the price, which is what they did here. And just because they don't know that they can't charge $300 this year or $250 this year and then charge $500 next year when they have the licenses, because then people will be upset about it. So they need to do this gradual thing. So that's why they're pumping out this garbage. That's
a yearbook quote real quick. They half-ass, if you're a half-ass the product, don't whole ass the price. I like that. I want to make one more point about the sticker autos, which is the most offensive thing, in my opinion, is the ones like the Caleb Williams, the one like the Jaden Daniels, the ones like the Bo Nix. They are exclusive. They are exclusive Fanatics signers. Give a little bit more effort for those. There needs to be more. This is, you sign them away from Panini. You made them exclusive. All you did, and I said this before, and I said it with the previous quarterback class when they did it too. All you're doing right now is screwing over the collector. The collector cannot get a card of Jaden Daniels in his Commander's uniform because you signed him away when you didn't have the licenses. Okay, that's fine. But then you know what? Give us one hell of a nice card. Use those licenses. You paid for them. I get it. Use those licenses for the collector. Do something nice for the collector. Have those Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, have those on card autographs. Is that too much to ask? Send them a stack. At this point, send them a stack of cards now. I don't know what we're doing. Why did they not do this a little bit earlier when they signed them to exclusives? When they were there signing that exclusive contract, maybe have them sign some cards. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Those are the ones that piss me off the most.
Why not use those autos?
Because you can't get a Ladd McConkey in Panini. You can't get him in his Panini uniform. Or his Panini uniform. You can't get him in his licensed uniform, his Chargers uniform, and a licensed card. You can get those, but you can't get Jaden Daniels. You can't get Caleb Williams. You can't get Bo Nix.
If you want to use up those autos, just use the stickers. Use them up in like a Bowman University product. Like Caleb Williams one, well, that would fit there perfectly.
Well, that's what they had them from. I think they were probably left over from that.
Right.
So what are we going to do with these? Oh, let's come up with a product to throw about. Topps Chrome. We'll do a Topps Chrome. Let's just do that. Like, seems ridiculous, but there's probably a little grain of truth to that process. Yeah. Oh, we have all these leftover we didn't use. Why don't we use them for this? And maybe some of the ones that were left over because they weren't done very well. Like if they grew some balls and weren't so afraid of making the players mad, they could very easily go through the stickers, and the ones they can't use, don't pay them for them. And maybe the players would take a little more time, but they won't do that. They would rather screw over us because why? We always buy it anyway.
Yeah, we don't matter.
Buy it. It doesn't matter. I don't want to make them mad. They might not come to my white party if I make them mad for not paying him for these autographs that he didn't do a good job on. So we'll just screw the collectors. But hey, we'll tell them that we hear you. We want to have on-card autographs for you because that's what collectors want. Oh, we have a bunch of stickers. Okay, let's do another set. But what do I know?
If this was Topps flagship, by the way, and they were using sticker autos, I would have less of a problem with it. I mean, it'd still be annoying, but this is Topps Chrome. This is a little bit more and pricier. Like, put them in low-end products. I don't think anyone would be upset at all getting that Ladd McConkey out of a box of cards that was $125. But when you're paying $350, that's where it makes a difference. And to my point earlier, Mike, if the head man does not give a shit, then why should anyone else? And that's what's going on here. You have Michael Rubin just doesn't care. You just, they're still buying it. Then why do we have to improve? It worked for Panini for years. Let's just keep doing it that way.
Related but unrelated. Jaden Daniels is the next Mercury product, right? You think that after Jaden Daniels, like the way he's in just yeah.
It's a new Madden curse. Watch out, Jake.
Well, in more Topps news, talk about making a lot of cards. Topps now has a new design for 2025. They are now finally changing the parallels to match how the parallels are numbered in their products they release, the pack pulled products. So, the reds will be out of 5, the oranges will be out of 25, the golds will be out of 50. And they are adding 2 new parallels to the Topps now, which they print to order. They're going to have a chrome parallel and an opal refractor parallel. The chrome will kick in at 50,000 cards and 100,000 cards if the number printed surpass those. The opal will only be added if they make 250,000 or 500,000. I know none of that really matters a whole lot, but we talk a lot on here about how they add extra parallels to the pack sets that you're buying because they're producing more of it. This is the clear indication of how they do that. You make more cards. The more you print it, the more parallels they're going to have in Topps now. This is what they're doing in their Topps packs. But it's right out in the open. I don't know, 500. I guess they do sell some with 500,000. Let's root for it. Are people are now going to be we talk all the time about people are buying the lottery tickets to try to get that one thing. But now people are going to be trying to buy a ton just so they can kick in to get the opal refractors. I got to buy 100 of these or 100,000 of these so we can get the opal refractor.
Bro, I just got the first opal refractor, baby. Joe's killing me. I can't wait to hear what Joe has to say.
But yeah, oh my God. It's just, I don't know why they put cards in packs.
They're not going to. They're not going to.
Right?
This is the future, and it sucks. Joe, I can't wait. You've been killing me the entire time. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Here's my thing. I love being right. I mean, being right is my favorite thing. I love being right.
He does.
Being
he
right.
Really does.
Yep.
Because I remind people when I'm right all the time. Remember that time I was right? It pains me.
He really does.
It pains me that I'm right about this, and I've been right about this since day one. It pains me to be as right as I've been about Fanatics the entire time. I don't think I've made a wrong prediction about Fanatics, and I said a couple of weeks ago, when are they just going to stop making packs of cards? At what point? And we're starting to see it. I mean, it is just like, again, I'm so sad because I want to be happy about being right. But then that just means the hobby is in a shittier place that I'm right. So it's kind of like a catch-22. I'm super happy about always being right about Fanatics. But I'm also super unhappy that it's going to lead to the downfall of card collecting. It's just, I don't know. I don't know where to land on this one, boys. Should I just be happy I'm right and just ride the wave? I don't.
With what they charge to buy a box anymore, though, should we really be mad that they're doing it this way? Maybe they're finally giving the collectors what we want. Wax is too much. I just want to buy the card right from you that I want.
Oh my God, that is there. They are letting people buy singles at Topps.com. They're getting rid of the dealers that people buy singles instead of
whatever I've been calling it. It's like the Franklin Mint. It's like buying stuff from the Franklin Mint to order. I just, and you see it a little bit already kind of starting. You've gone from like having cases of cards. Now there's like Breaker's Delight is a thing, you know, where it's literally just the hits. At what point does it go from, you know, with the exception of a handful of sets, does it go from true like build out sets to, okay, now we're just going to do boxes of Breaker's Delight, but for collectors too, for all hobbyists, it's all going to be Breaker's Delight. And then it's going to go to all online Topps Now type stuff. Like anything that gets their profit margin higher, that's going to be what they do. It has nothing to do with the collector at that point.
I mean, I think they're like, again, as I said about the singles, I think what they're trying to do is almost price out the regular collector from being able to buy boxes so they can send all the boxes to the breakers. So they can make all the money from that off the breakers. And then if people don't want to pay, don't want to buy the expensive boxes, they can still buy a Victor Wembanyama Topps Now card when he scores 20 points in a game or whatever for $16 a piece in the hopes of getting an opal parallel. I think that's where we're at right now.
And then that $16 card ends up being in dollar bins a month later, 2 months later, you know, just crazy.
Well, you know, we joke around a lot about being influencers on this channel. Have you guys noticed the trend in sports card YouTube where a lot more of the sports card people are now talking about non-sports cards? Has anybody noticed this? Joe, have you noticed?
I may have noticed it a little bit, yeah.
We're kind of OG with this. You know, we have a playlist that is called Comic and Non-Sports Cards. You know, we've had that since the beginning. Somebody opens, what is that, Star Wars they open all the time and collect all these autographs.
That's what it is. I can't afford Star Wars. What are you talking about? I can't afford Star Wars. It's Star Trek.
Star Trek.
I can't afford Fanatic Star Wars products. Come on now.
I think we've influenced all of sports card YouTube that now they want to get into non-sports. Pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah. It's about time, man.
You know, I say this all the time. You know, I'm not going to complain that they showed up late to the party. I'm just happy they're here. You know, It's nice that they showed up. You know, joking aside, you know, Dustin, the sports card dad, you know, he has his other channel now. You know, he's been doing collectibles dad or whatever. I think Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics now has like a non-sports channel,
Trading card
spin-off,
game, isn't it?
trading card game spin-off. And we have been for the last 3 years. We've been talking about non-sports pretty much the entire time. And it's nice that other people are kind of coming around. Like other people, and I give him actual credit for this. Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics opening up that 90 MU. That was what made his channel big. But now you see more and more sports card people starting to lean that way. And they're leaning that way because of the things we talked about earlier on the show, like Victor Wembanyama getting hurt and out for the season. And, we had someone in our comments this past week talk about they had just bought a bunch of Justin Tucker cards. Like, oh my God, right? So like there's a lot to that it just feels safer. And I've said this the entire time as well, and you guys have as well. Like the nostalgia factor for these type of cards hits me so much more than modern sports cards do nowadays.
And we said this from the very beginning. Joe's the one who said it. Said about how we feel better when you're when you open up a box of non-sports stuff like Marvel or whatever. It feels better than opening up sports. And I'm not sure who necessarily said this, but it feels like almost every one of those cards is an insert. It feels like an insert when you look at it. Mike, we were at the show. Yesterday, you showed me a Punisher card, and just from I think it was from Masterpieces, and just the look of the art of it, like it looks like an insert card, and that's just a base card, and that's why, if in a lot of cases, why we love these cards so much, and why I feel like it's cool that people are getting into them, because they feel it feels different. It feels better to open that kind of stuff. I want to pump the brakes. Hope we can pump the brakes a little bit though, because if too many people switch over, then Fanatics is going to say, hey, wait a minute, we can make money if we get. Well, they are, but with Star Wars. But I mean, like, how many other products? I mean, I guess they're getting Marvel.
Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, WWE. Yeah, you're late to that game,
there are a lot of Star Trek fans. There are not as many Star Trek card collectors. Like Star Trek has a ton of fans, but they, the ones that collect cards aren't like showing all their cards on social media, right? I hope they don't. Star Trek cards I've been talking about the last couple of weeks have been booming, right?
Keep that safe. Keep that for us.
I don't want Fanatics. I don't want Fanatics to find out that Star Trek cards have been booming, because I don't want them to own the rights to Star Trek cards. I'm worried about the DCU.
Wait, Joe, I just got breaking news.
More breaking news.
Fanatics just signed Patrick Stewart to an exclusive autograph signing deal.
I'm fine with that, because he only signs Peace Stew now anyway, and especially on stickers. So I'm okay. Makes these more valuable. But,
especially on stickers.
Yeah, especially on stickers. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Fanatics has taken some of the non-sports stuff. So my advice, and I think you guys would agree, look back in time at some of the really, really cool stuff. I've been starting to look into the Cryptozoic stuff that they did some DC sets that I think look really interesting. Obviously, Marvel with Skybox and Upper Deck and Fleer and all those sets. I mean, look back in time, because you can buy those boxes a lot cheaper than you can buy ultra modern sports stuff. And like EP alluded to, I've said a lot, you don't feel gross after opening up a box of non-sports, because you're not looking for the ROI on it. And for the most part, the ROI is actually percentage-wise, it's better. I mean, if you look at the enjoyment factor plus what the cards go for.
I got to say, the Halo boxes that I opened, like, I'm selling the parallels at prices that I would not be able to sell Topps Series 1 parallels. Like, just parallels, like, you get a couple of boxes, like, they are selling for $12. I sold a couple of them for $30. Like, the people care about this stuff, and they're out there. It's really pretty awesome.
Yeah, non-sports, a lot of the sports card collectors, it's about value. What's it going to be worth? The people who collect that non-sports, if you are opening a product of something that you have a lot of interest in, like, it's real, it's organic. It's not, oh, I do this because I wanted to collect a rookie from this team to hopefully maybe make some money on. you're opening Halo. If you love that game, you love that franchise, now you have the opportunity to buy it. And we've talked about it before. Wrestling collectors, Marvel collectors, all kinds of non-sports, they get special cards from these sets and they go in their collection and they never go anywhere else. You don't see them being passed around like you do sports cards. Yes, there are sports card collectors. Not everything is like totally one way or the other. Some people get sports cards, put them in their collection, never see them again. But non-sports collectors, wrestling collectors, Marvel collectors, that's on another level. Wrestling collectors, there are many that you just will not see the one of one if the one of one collector got it. You're never going to see that card again. So it's what I kind of like about non-sports is the enjoyment that people that like it have. Like you talk to somebody about, I just ran a non-sports sale. People were claiming some of the older like Marvel masterpieces. I'd be just like, how cool is that card? And I'd say that to them and I just got another one of these last week and I wanted to get another one. Like they just love it too. Like I was loving what I was selling and they're loving what they're buying. And you don't always feel that way when you're selling baseball or football or something like that.
It feels a lot more like collecting, like the word collecting as opposed to investing or that sort of stuff, which I think a lot of times, even somebody like me who I love the sports cards, but a lot of times it feels like, well, if I don't make my money back on this box, or at least some of my money back on this box, I'm screwed. Where with the non-sports stuff, typically I don't not think about that at all. Like, it's just there for enjoyment.
It is actually the entertainment value seems higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
You always talk about opening up a box of cards. I credited Justin over at Spidey Hits. Once the seal is broken, the only thing left is a good time. It truly feels that way with non-sports. And I think, ironically, Mike, Star Trek collectors and wrestling collectors are very, very similar. Once something gets into their collection, you just don't see it anymore. There's a couple of the Patrick Stewart autographs I have never been on eBay. They have never been on eBay for the last 3 years on Terapeak. You can look and you just can't find them because people buy them, put them in their collection, and they're not thinking, well, how much can I sell it for now? That's what it is with sports cards. It's like, oh, okay, I just got this one. What can I get for it? And that's not what you're seeing with a lot of the non-sports collectors. They're like, oh, I can put this in a binder. My buddy John, who I've been trading Star Trek cards with, he has, you can't see it. This is the dual auto that even Mike liked. He thought it was cool with Shatner and Nimoy on it. He had it in a 3-ring binder in an album page. Like he had it in and I said, John, you got to take that. At least put it in a Steven top loader. It's starting to really stress me out. But yeah, I mean, that's, I'm just collecting this card. This is a cool card. I'm going to put it into a binder. And it just, that's kind of how non-sports folks think, where it's not all about, oh, what can I make on this in 3 months, 6 months, whatever. So it's refreshing, I think is a good word to put, a good way to put it. It's just refreshing to see people be more collectors than just trying to get a buck out of something.
Yeah, and the wild thing is when you sell that Wembanyama card that you just pulled, like, oh, what can I get out of this? And you sell it, the person buying it is thinking, I'm going to buy this because I can sell it for more money later. Like I can say, I can buy this and get it graded and sell it for more money. I think there's a lot of that. There's like this long line until they actually get to a collector, and if by that point the price probably drops to some ridiculous.
And eventually you see what can happen with someone like Wemby. Like Patrick Stewart ain't, well, if he tears an ACL out, it's not going to affect these cards. You know what I mean? I think it'll be fine.
Well, we're pretty tough on Fanatics today, but I'm going to end with a little fun story here. MLB The Show 25 is coming out soon. I played some of the older iterations of that game. Fun game. The MLB debut patches are going to be on the players in the game, which is pretty awesome. Cool. And if you buy a physical copy of the game with the top sticker on it, they have a 3-card limited edition set that you'll actually get a trading card in with the game. So we do hammer them, but one of the good ideas they did come out with was that MLB debut patch. We've liked that from the start, still like it now. I think it's pretty cool that it's going into the video game. If it's not in the video game, it's not real to some people. So it's there. It is real. And might have said some bad things. We will say one thing that they came up with, what is that, about 2 years ago now, was a great idea. So well done, Michael Rubin.
Can I slam it? before we go? Can I make fun of this?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I count on that.
This is the one good thing they've came up with, and man, are they squeezing the life out of it, aren't they? They are making sure they get as much juice out of that squeeze as possible, and they're going to bastardize this thing. So it's very cool that they're doing this for the video game. That is neat. I wonder if like the player will only wear it during their first game.
It's probably
they should only,
they
should. But
yeah.
That being said, I can't wait for the veteran ones of this card because it's coming. Just strap on, kids. Strap on.
It's last game patch. They'll have a patch for like their last game or whatever, something like their last season. Every game of their last
season,
it,
you have to retire.
Right. Yeah. Tom Brady would have 3 of them. Well, but I played this game recently, like 2023, and we talked about it at one point. And I think Joe might have asked about how making sure, like, if they continue to use, because they always use the tops cards, like the cards that have shown up in Madden and stuff. The cards are always kind of like generic, like a card design or whatever. But they have used faithfully the tops design throughout multiple different different years and stuff like that. And I'm guessing the debut patch card will be one of their chase cards and whatever their season, whatever their Game Pass type season is for people to try to chase for certain players. Like I'm sure the Paul Skeens one will appear just because of the hype around it. I'm sure that'll appear in this next
and it'll probably
season of the game.
The tops. Yeah, right.
I mean, listen, in that game, the credits in that game, it'd probably be worth like 100 million credits or something like that.
And the tops design will probably make its way over to Madden and make its way over to the NBA once they have the licenses, I would suspect.
All right, guys. I think we've talked about enough this week. Anybody want to keep going?
I know some people in the comments might say yes.
3 hours. Come
3 hours.
We can't do this for 3 hours.
That's only for a live stream.
It's Monday morning. We got to go to work, right? We can't.
Have to get ready for work. Come on. It's getting late. All right, guys. That was a fun chat this week, and I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.